Good morning. Good morning. Okay. So things aren't moving much. Yesterday, that's what was our expectation. That things wouldn't move very much, and they didn't. As you can see, these spiders touched the 20. Was able to move up a little bit at the end of the day, and that was it. And this market's still waiting for some economic numbers. I think Thursday. Take a look here. What are we getting? Jeez. Tomorrow there's inflation numbers. 8:30 in the morning. So market still just sitting on the edge of its seat, so to speak, looking for some miracle number that they're not going to raise interest rates, I guess. And so where are we at here? Basically nowhere. Little tiny gap up into the middle of this topping tail bar. So prices just continue to consolidate, correct sideways. Little bit of movement, correction through time. Yesterday was titled, about the whippiness, and that's what we're getting. So the benefit of that is to know and avoid getting whipsawed. You see the little move up, resistance is right there. I mean, these are just not high probability patterns that you're going to get a significant move one way or another. A slowing in momentum, the distance between the highs. We had this pullback. It didn't get far above the high before the sellers came in. I don't know what it's going to do here. Could go up a little bit, could go down a little bit. There's a little bit of room to get up toward this resistance here. I just would look at something like this and say, well, it could go up a bit, down a bit. It's not going to move very much. So pretty small expectations for any kind of significant movement. One second here. Okay. The Russell was the mover yesterday, right? The regional banks moved up. So that now these are back up to the pivot high. So was it KRE? KRE? Regional banks. I mean, not like much of anything, but the intraday they were moving up, and KBI. They broke down last week and they had this reversal right back up again. So whipsaw kind of action, getting a wide range bar up after a breakdown. More remind me, we're getting this kind of stuff all over the place. Look, square, beautiful up bar, down bar, up bar, moving back up again, just whipsaw price action. Frog in a blender kind of stuff with relatively, and that isn't even a tight spread. Because, look at the size of these bars, 3, 4, 5 points wide. So, and it's the way things are right now. Let's just take a look here. Semiconductors, leader, semi-tech, just consolidating. Look at the weekly chart. Relatively small bars, not bad. I mean, if you're long, unless it breaks down with a wide range bar, it's just a correction through time. Not much going on. Airlines been leading up. They still going up, look good. Those different sections still looking pretty darn good. This had a decent day yesterday. Maybe it can keep going. USO, we talked about yesterday. That took a rest after the wide range bar. So positive, negatives, pick your spot. What's Bitcoin doing? A lot of nothing there. Um, interest rates, expected pull back a little bit. So, markets like that, of course, to back off a little bit, but any pattern that you see has a blast off like that, the expectation is buy the pullback. Has it pulled back enough yet? Probably not. Probably got to pull back a little bit more, and then we're going to get that inflation data, and we'll see if if we get the turn. SPX. Oh, I've got 44.50. Jake's got 55. And 43.85. If you can get far enough away with the premium. 44. 40, 44.50. 55 is 55 by 65. Probably always safer to be on the other side of a whole number, but I don't suspect it's getting above this topping tail today. And if it does, if it starts moving up this morning, then definitely get on the other side of 50, right up into this resistance there. So you always got those initial moments at the open to see which way things might move and premiums change. 43.80-ish bottom, 43.80. Sure, it's pretty tight. Yeah. Probably so. They're right here. Any kind of little gyration could knock it down there. And that's where I got my alert, just above that, these pivot highs there in the 20s. So prices are up here. Yeah, I suppose that's okay. With expectations that there's going to be little movement before tomorrow, economic numbers could certainly stay above yesterday's low, which is 89-ish. So they're tight. It's just not those no-brainers that we like. But the majority of these no-brainers have all worked. Not no-brainers. All of these tight ones over the last couple of weeks have worked out. 105 billion at 4,400. So McGraw, unusual to see these huge open interests so many days out. It's like 2 months out. What's up with that? Usually it's not that way. So these, especially at this 4,400, as you've mentioned, this huge open interest 66 days out. And that being that far away, questions whether it could hold it there right now. How meaningful is it when it's 2 months away? Yeah. Market McGraw's telling me, those of you on social media, McGraw is saying that the markets have taken a stand, and that's what that usually means, infers. When you have a strike, puts and calls with a tremendous open interest, it's basically like a standoff. Who's going to blink? And the battle rages right around that area. So usually it's not that far away. Maybe it's the next expiration, give or take. So, and that kind of leads more toward, as we look at the charts and the move up, and especially looking at the NASDAQ, and prices running up, the composite up to a whole number and near this pivot. We're looking at NDX, up here near this pivot after, move from the low points coming up to this pivot high. We use the the words, it's reached its destination. So when prices rise or accelerate, creating a void below and reach a pivot high, I mean, it's really just common sense. Things need to take a rest, and it's reached a point where the sellers are going to be, everybody, one way or another, how they get there, they look to the left. Some people got to draw trend lines and fib lines and this, that, the other thing. But ultimately, there's some reference point over there, and it depends on how it got there. So if it had churned its way up there, up and down, pulling back and up there again versus accelerating in this way, right, there'd be a little less likelihood of this consolidation that we're seeing, because it'd be consolidating on the way up. What we have right now is relatively normal price action. When prices run up as they have, they reach a swing high, and so far they're consolidating. And it's easier trading when prices move out of a base and are moving this way versus reaching their destination. And once you recognize what is and don't fight it, you change your strategies to, maybe doing more call spreads or put spreads versus directionals. And, the directionals tend to get more erratic, and that's the way it is. So, keep the powder dry, smaller positions, and see what happens. And we'll see what numbers come out tomorrow. Maybe we get some kind of movement, but things still are constructive. Looking at transports, they moved up, and that's a positive. They're up at resistance. They had a decent day yesterday. Interesting that they closed at the high, but they're at this resistance area. So the probability is they're not going to go very far. As mentioned, the Russell moved up into this resistance. It's not going to go very far. That's the thought. The Dow is underperforming. It's in this wide, whippy trading range. Look at the weekly chart. 1, 2, 3, 4. Working on the 5th week of running in place. And trending markets are easy to make money in, where these are more difficult if you're looking for directionals. But a couple of days here and there. Oil is consolidating at resistance bullishly so far. We looked at Bitcoin and the dollar. Coming back in, coming toward resistance. What did gold do? Nothing. So kind of losing that inverse connection there. So more uncertainty. So not the best environment, but recognizing what it is, we stay out of the chop. And I guess that's going to continue to be the message. And the volatility index popped up, and it's just jiggling around here. So we'll see what today brings in individual setups. And I mentioned in the end of the day yesterday, AI. Those who are on social media want to consider it. It's up here a little bit. It's this grinding kind of thing, but it ignored the topping tail. So maybe it could move up. It was just an idea. Not great ideas, but that's it. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Despite the chop, we continue to find superior patterns. We had a very busy day yesterday, actually, and a number of our stocks just ripped. TPX, look at that bar. We bought call options on it. We're in trail mode. Dunking, we're in that. We bought calls. Carvana, we shorted puts. So yeah, I mean our picks are dramatically outperforming. Devin, it's more of a put spread, Thomas. There's not a great void. Compare it you know how we always do the A/B test, just comparing two in the same sector or whatever. Look at this, APA is superior to DVN. Do you see? We had a closing breakout on Friday, 1, 2, 3, and a price void. And flat converging 2050, W bottom weekly. It's just day and night better. So we're already in a short put. But I short naked put, but pre-market, I posted a couple of new trades here, and this was one of them. Well, here I'll show you the open one and the new one. These are directional, and then I also gave a new put spread for next week. Let's just see what I have over here. I had a number of up alarms going off, which is good because they're all in our favor. Hood's another one. We're 4 long recently. That had a nice day yesterday. My up alarm went off. We're starting to play around again with marijuana, MSOS, MJ. Now, I didn't wait for yesterday's high to get into this. I sometimes I just say do it over the closing price. And that's kind of as an insurance policy, just in case you have a gap down that I didn't notice. But in this case, the reason I said 321 is because I had this 15-minute chart. I just wanted to get it just to make sure it wasn't going to break down under here. So that's the unusual entry on this one today. You know, it's ready. It's ready to get in. Jose, TJX, and Slob. It's a buy setup. It's a buy setup from 3 bars, so I wouldn't really expect a new high. It's on minor support, but it's still kind of extended here, 20, 50, 200. So I'm not sure about the risk to reward for a swing, but day trade maybe. Yeah, McGraw, it's interesting you say that. I already have it on my list over here in a second. Yeah, and I see one print up here at 74, so I have an alarm at 74.30, I think. But yeah, definitely. And I wouldn't call them direct cousins. I would say they're indirect cousins, kind of like you would in Kentucky. I think you were telling me about that. And because this one is a REIT that leases land to these marijuana growers, whereas, you know, MSOS, MJ are actually the pot growers. And Jose, Slob, Southern Coast, exactly. Slob. There's a number of oils that we were waiting for a 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3, 4, because I mean that's a big old bar. But look at the 15. Even though it's up a lot, that 15-minute strength, shallow retracement is saying buyers are paying those prices. It's retracing over time versus price. So, I mean, I personally don't like buying things far from the 20 like this, but day trade, I have no problem with that at all. And then it's, you know, up to you if you want to trade it as a swing trade. Cream here, I saw busting a move pre-market. We've been shorting puts on the support, and now today that's a big old something bar. I mean that's up a lot now. We need a pullback, but if we get a pullback, that's good for directional and put spread. This one we missed, but this was a beautiful entry on this bottoming tail bar right there. Yeah, that has room to go, but totally missed our entry. It's a Climo now. And Fit B, little banking stock, bottoming pattern. Tomorrow, MT Live, we're going to be talking about voids and support and resistance and how to assess potency. This is actually a great example. great example of, you got resistance here, you got resistance here. So we kind of need that closing something breakout bar. Oh, Amazon, man, the media will not shut up about their Prime Day. I've never seen such free coverage for a company. They must have some folks in the news media, because that's all they're talking about this morning is Prime Day. So up a little bit, could give you a day trade. It's not a good swing setup. But what's kind of just interesting to me is I heard one guy say that about 20% of their sales are for Apple products. And wow, that's staggering to me. 20 and another guy said they're going to make like 7% of their monthly sales in 2 days. So that is a boatload of sales of Apple products. But again, maybe day trade, but I don't see anything interesting there. Swing. Yeah, I mentioned to Greg here, we are already long ARC-F in our ETF letter. I just absolutely love that monthly chart. And then I started looking at the other, I call them the ARC lady. And now look at ARC-K. ARC-K looks like I think we need to add this to our family of ARC ladies. So let's keep an eye on ARC-K today. In fact, I'm going to put that in a window. It's Amazon, I don't care about. Kava, this is that new coffee shop. We kind of missed our entry right here, this bullish engulfing right on this major support. That would have been the entry. But it's kind of hard trading IPOs just because you don't have a lot of data. So your setup was bullish engulfing on major support. End of story. That's my setup. See what happens. And with that bar, it suggests it's going to go higher now. I'm gonna pull back. Yeah, Alex, I talked about APA for a long time. We're already in it, but then I gave 2 new trades on it. Looks fantastic. Etsy here, wide range bar on major support. I gave that as a put spread idea. Oh, okay, cool. Zulu Golf got an upgrade, I think. No pattern though. There's IIPR, there's MJ, AHI. Now this could be getting interesting. Nothing to do yet. That's 4 deep retracement bars. But as you can see here, it definitely kind of has some pump and dump looking behavior to it. But let's set an alarm at $5. Just to make us look at it again. A couple earnings here, not much, but earnings season's going to start in gear, I think, on Thursday with some airlines and banks. Ango opening flat, no pattern, no interest. Byron, bottoming pattern. It was up, down, now relatively flat. Oh, we'll keep an eye on that. PMST. Now this, had it opened flat, would have been a beautiful pattern. Daily, weekly, monthly, all in alignment. But now the gap screwed it up. We'll come back to it and I'll see if it can bounce. This one had earnings, WD-40. Gap up to this prior high, nothing to do. USB got an upgrade. There's another, regional bank beat up stock, gapping up. Could be a put spread. Camp. Why am I looking at you? I think it had something to do with earnings, but you're a beaten down dog. No action. SKT, AVB, EQR, number of alarms here. All right, EQR is a REIT that I've been watching. AVB is a REIT that's already posted. EQR, I'm going to set a new alarm, 6720. This would be a fantastic setup if it triggers over a 30-minute high. It looks like it might keep going right now, though. But I love that little pattern. I'm going to put that in a window. EQR. AVB. So AVB is a go. That's a beautiful pattern, daily, weekly, monthly. APA alarm, EQR alarm. All right, APA. All right, so that's good to go, directional and let me see what I said by 32.5 calls for midpoint. All right, so that's 325. Oh, it's all right, but it entered a dime ago. Shoot. Okay, so I'll post this in a bit. All right, I'm gonna go through these alerts first before I. All right, crowd bottom right. It's a put spread idea. ARC F up alarm. Man, a lot of alarms going on for them. All right, crowd, we would do 144 for next week. D-Dog up alarm, we have a put spread. All right, check earnings crowd. 8, 9, we're good. All right, crowd looks fantastic as a put spread. Uh, 143.